But then Coltrane said, no man, its chord equals 228. Oh, hi, I'm Dr. Curtis Adams, director of the School of Music at Shepherd University. The jazz ensemble's just finishing up rehearsal. We're getting ready to watch Dr. Simon Wildman's Salon Series. We'd like to thank JSB for their sponsorship. Over to you, Simon.
Hi, my name is Simon Wildman, and I teach tuba and euphonium at Shepherd University. Thank you very much for tuning in to this recital. I am really excited and thrilled at the opportunity to play live music during a pandemic. It's really been tough to get together to perform. So I thank you so much for tuning in. This recital is called For the Students because everything you'll hear, except for the one piece, is music that I have taught to students and assigned to them over the semesters I've taught at Shepherd University. But oddly, I have never performed any of this music except for the one piece. So it was really long overdue that I play this music and walk in my students' shoes a little bit. And I planned the recital to get some first-hand mileage on this music, but also I gave myself extra challenges, one of which being that I was going to play euphonium, bass tuba, and contrabass tuba all on the same program, because I will use all three of those instruments in teaching and in performing. And as I found out, they are very different to maintain a decent sound on each. So that was a really great benefit of preparing this recital. And I hope you can appreciate the variety of sounds that you'll hear on the program. So the first piece you'll hear is Joseph Barat's Introduction and Dance, which has become a standard for euphonium, tuba, and even trombone recitals. And it was one of the first professional recordings of tuba that I had ever heard, the Roger Bobo recording. Standard piece. It's got very simple yet very effective melodies in F minor and a few brief flourishes into whole tone collections. And it will probably get stuck in your head a little bit, I hope. So I hope that you enjoy Joseph Barat's Introduction and Dance. The second piece that you heard following the Barat was a wonderful transcription of George Friedrich Handel's Violin Sonata in E major. And I always try to have my students play a variety of styles and different time periods, especially Baroque period sonatas like this one. And what I found out while preparing it was that it takes a lot of work to make it sound easy. And I even took the easy route to prepare it by playing it on F tuba rather than C or B flat, which is a much harder workout if you use either of those. So it was a good experience to do firsthand and see what my students are toiling with when they are preparing this. So up next on the program is the one piece that I have never assigned to a student, and that is Anthony Ploug's 3 Miniatures for tuba. And the main reason that I've never taught this piece is because it was written exclusively for bass tuba, so pitched in F or E flat. And undergrad tuba students typically only have one tuba in C or B flat, so that's the main reason I've never assigned it. But it's also really tough. It's full of octatonic and whole tone melodies, very angular and fast passages that leap all over the instrument. And it was also one of those first professional recordings that I ever heard. It's always been a very popular and valuable piece in the tuba solo repertoire. So, of all the music that you'll hear on this program, the Ploug may have the most spooky vibe. You know, if you have small kids like I do, you'll be fully aware that Halloween is quickly approaching, and you might not immediately think about the tuba and euphonium at Halloween, but giving recitals in October is something that tuba and euphonium players have been doing regularly since at least 1973, when Harvey Phillips established the inaugural Octuba Fest at Indiana University, and it has spread to many universities throughout the United States and globally since then. The inspiration for the inaugural festival was not Halloween, but it was the traditional German celebration Oktoberfest, which celebrates the fall harvest. And the main purpose of Oktoberfest is just simply to promote the tuba and euphonium as viable and exciting solo instruments. So we can consider this program to be the first recital of Shepherd University Oktoberfest 2020. And I will be followed in just a few weeks by performances from two of my outstanding seniors, Paul Hahn and Hannah Flack. And they're both going to be presenting really exciting recitals, and I'm very proud of them and all of their accomplishments over the past 4 years. So, in conclusion, I hope you enjoy 3 Miniatures. Now for something completely different. Um, Up next on the program is Alexander Cherepnin's Andante for tuba or bass trombone. And it is not unanimously recognized as a great piece for young players, but I think it absolutely should be recognized for its value for young players and for any age player or musical venue. It is a wonderful piece. It was published in 1939, and it's really just an earnest and sentimental song that at times sounds like Brahms, Chopin, and Rimsky-Korsakov sort of all together. And Cherepnin was a Russian expatriate living in Paris during World War II, around the time this piece was written. Now, there is a really rich history of Russian brass playing that you can view Cherepnin's piece as part of that, in that line. And I don't think it is a coincidence that one of the most popular pieces for young tuba players is Alexei Lebedev's Concerto in One Movement, which was published in the United States in about 1960. And the Cherepnin and the Lebedev are really, they have an emotional gravity to them that is really hard to find in most any other piece for tuba. So I hope you enjoy this great music. So now it's time for some more euphonium. Uh, the euphonium really earned a permanent place as a solo instrument in the golden age of American bands around the late 19th to early 20th centuries. Traveling bands like the Sousa Band would often include featured soloists on their programs, and the cornet was usually the first choice, but euphonium, I would say, was a very close second. Herman Bellstedt was one of those very early cornet soloists, and he composed a set of variations to the hugely popular Italian song Funiculi, funicula, and I think that theme and variations as a genre is so important for euphonium players in particular, but all brass. I think it's so important that I have assigned this next piece on the program to a few of my students. And after working on it to prepare for this recital, I might hesitate before I assign it again. And the reason for that is it's very technically challenging, and I knew it was. I mean, a theme and variations that's the whole point. It's supposed to be a technical display. But playing all of the notes and trying to impart some of that classic soloistic flair was way more difficult than I ever imagined. But even so, it was a lot of fun to prepare, and I hope you have fun listening. Before I introduce the last piece on the program, I want to thank all of the people who were involved in producing this recital. First, I have to thank my wonderful accompanist, Dr. Julianna Hayward, who, while preparing 10 other recitals this semester, has somehow managed to fit in this music, this very complicated music, to her schedule. So I'm very grateful to her. It was a lot of fun. And I would also like to thank Christina Smith and the recording engineers from the Student Recording Project who handle all the audio and video editing for the program. And I also would like to thank my friend Will Sampson, who was sort of a recording supervisor and an overall tone meister, was what I'll call him. And finally, I'd like to thank Dr. Curtis Adams and the Shepherd University School of Music and the Jefferson Security Bank for their support of the Salon Series. And just, I want to reiterate that this recital would not happen without their support and all of the wonderful people who gave their time to produce this concert. So the last piece on the program is a classic for developing tuba and euphonium players, the Andante and Allegro movements from Antonio Capuzzi's Concerto for Double Bass. It's a lovely example of classical period music, and it was very artfully adapted for tuba and euphonium by pianist, composer, and prominent tuba player Philip Catalinet. Catalinet was a name that many tuba players may remember because he premiered Ralph Vaughan Williams' Concerto for Bass Tuba with the London Symphony Orchestra in 1954. And that was possibly the most important event in the modern history of the tuba. It catalyzed many other prominent composers to write for this, what is still today an underestimated instrument. And we are all benefiting from that early groundbreaking work. So preparing the Andante Rondo was another eye-opening experience, really. I had never performed it, but I've assigned it numerous times and listened to many of my peers practicing it when I was a student in college. It's another great example of something that sounds serene and beautiful, but it takes a lot of effort to make that come off of the page. So thank you again very much for tuning in to this recital, and I hope that we can all get back together very soon in concert halls and wherever live music is played. I hope we can all get back together soon to experience that. But in the meantime, thank you again, and I hope you enjoy Andante and Rondo.